Your twin flame is a trauma bond. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how we stop traumatically bonding by integrating with our inner child. Watch this video. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please click the little subscribe button, the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. This topic has been coming up so much in my work. I have a free masterclass called All In that you guys should check out if this is you. I did this masterclass because I put together all the pieces of the puzzle and I did live coachings with people to channel their inner children. I had a session today with a new woman who came to me for inner child work, and she called her relationship that she just ended a twin flame. And I said to her, let's talk about your relationship to self, because the ages 5 and 7 keep popping up to me. And she freaked out because she was like, oh my gosh, that is the age I found out or perceived that my father didn't love me and I was afraid of him. And I said, yeah. And that's continued in your traumatic bonding that we glamorize to call it a twin flame. And she goes, well, it's funny because I've had like 5 twin flames. I'm like, no, you've had 5 trauma bonds. So we went through the entire experience. And what we have to understand is, when we don't put our inner child first, choose her first, choose him first, you're going to either self-sabotage or you're going to constantly be attracted to intense relationships that feel like love because the inner child is neglected of true love. And then those traumatic bonds or trauma bonds will show up as bringing up your childhood trauma because your inner child still has trauma. And so how we end this cycle, I work with clients all day, every day doing this. It's a very structured approach. But the first step is to acknowledge the inner child, right? The second step is to live in alignment, align your action steps, even though it's hard and grief comes up and fear comes up and all the other feelings come up. Align your action steps with what your inner child needs to feel safe. I'm going to give you an example. So I asked her about her relationship to her father, and she said, well, I had to spend a lot of time over Christmas with him. And I said, had to? What does that mean? What does that look like? And she said, well, obligation. I felt obligated, like I had to. And I said, how did you feel the whole time? She's like scared, anxious, not good, not grounded. I said, okay. Here's the thing. When you have a trauma bond, it's because you have a traumatic bond with a parent. That is the first trauma bond. In my inner work class that I teach live, that is one of our weeks, is the first trauma bond from start to finish, how to heal that, right? So the first thing that she did wrong was go see dad and feel obligated. So I said, we don't go to see dad when we feel obligated. We go when we feel safe. And if you're not feeling safe, you need more time. It's not about going no contact specifically, because a lot of times clients will go no contact and they'll come to me and say, I still feel all the things emotionally. I say, because you haven't practiced your emotional autonomy work and your energetic boundary work, right? Boundaries Boot Camp, my course, all about it. If we don't have emotional autonomy, then we're going to feel the trauma bond, whether we're in their presence or not, and sometimes worse when we're not, correct? So what does she have to do? She has to daily check in with her inner child and start to listen to the messages. And instead of saying, no, we're not going to go there today because this doesn't need to happen, you say, okay, I'll go there today. We allow our inner child to direct us to build trust. Then when our inner child starts to be unstuck at that age and starts to mature as a teen, then we have to take the reins and reparent, giving boundaries to our own inner child so they trust our lead. It's good to allow your inner child to lead at first to build that consistency. And then when you start to have that consistency and you feel controlled by your inner child, you step in and say, okay, now I'm giving you boundaries. This is how we work together. This is how you stop saying my inner child or us or it, and you start to say me, right? There's an integration process where we all go through. I've been outlining this and designing this for a million years, right? And so with this client, she's like, well, if I feel obligated to see my dad, how do I change that? And I say, you stop going when you feel obligated. It's going to feel terrible inside. And it's also going to show your inner child that you're safer for her to trust you. You are abandoning your inner child every single time you do something that puts them back in the environment that abused them. even though you know better. And what I noticed with this client and so many clients, as I said, one of the things I'm sure you've dealt with in your life is bypassing. You think you understand your dad now, so it's okay, but the somatic experience did not get released and integrated. And she started to cry. And she's like, why do I cry when you say things like that? I just met her. And I said, because it's resonating with the inner child truth. So being integrated with our inner child is making them feel safe, not what you think should feel safe, but what they need to feel safe. One thing that isn't safe is going to the places that abuse them, where they have to feel fight, flight, or freeze. You have to get to a place where every single day you are integrating with consistency this new relationship you're going to have to your inner child. It's one thing to know you have an inner child. It's another thing to do daily work with it. And when I was explaining it to her, she's like, gosh, this is so profound, but simple. And I said, all simple things are profound and all profound things are actually simple. People just don't know how to do it. They've never been taught. And so when you do integrate your inner child, you're going to know that, because now traumatic bonds, you're going to have the flags. You're going to notice right away it's too intense, too fast, too much in love, too fast, too much fantasy that I can't really know about, too fast, trying to attach instead of authentically connect. And so when we're not authentically connected to our inner child, we cannot be authentically connected to anyone else. If we have this weird attachment thing with our inner child, where sometimes we listen and sometimes we don't, you're going to have an unavailable emotional partner. So your twin flame is not your twin flame. It's your trauma bond, because any relationship that has trauma in it is not a spiritual relationship. It might be a karmic relationship, but a soulmate relationship does not have pain or abandonment or insane things happen. A soulmate relationship wants you to keep your power. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of us who have been codependent or in narcissistically abusive relationships or raised by emotionally immature parents, because we want someone to lead us, control us, but that's not safe, because then you're giving up yourself and your inner child. So a healthy relationship is going to feel boring or scary, but ultimately over time, what feels boring to you is the consistency that you don't actually have with your own self. So it feels weird, off, wrong. As you build your inner child relationship, you will notice the flags of a trauma bond. And if you fall into one still, that doesn't mean you didn't heal. If you stay there, it means you didn't heal. I had another client this morning who came to me and said, wait, how did I attract this when I've done so much healing? I said, we always attract it. They're attracted to people who are beautiful and smart and, disciplined and driven. It's about having the boundaries and discernment to say, oh gosh, I've attracted one and I get to choose no. If you stay in one and you keep trying to do better or earn love or shift yourself so they stay and make the excuse of, oh, I did something wrong and that's why they left, that's a trauma bond, because you can do all the things in a relationship and someone who is actually in love with you and safe and healthy wants you to keep your power, not take it from you. These, power struggles that we go through in relationships is normal in a relationship. But a power struggle that is unhealthy is someone who senses you're in your power and comes back for more, to get it back, to keep you low, to keep you questioning. That is a traumatic bond. Trauma bonds are really tricky because, yes, there is real love involved and it's toxic love. So when you integrate with your inner child, you will no longer put up with or engage in anything different than the relationship you have with yourself. So if you have a trauma bond, you are traumatically bonded to your inner child. I have many offerings to help this. The first course I tell people to take, if this is you, is emotional rehab. Link is below. If you want to do shadow work, father wound work, mother wound work, generational trauma work, it is called shadow work. And then the I Am Worthy course is the mecca of all courses. It puts all of it in there, but it really is about owning your worth after no longer abandoning the self. One thing I like to tell people to do first, if you're new to my work, is maybe take Boundaries Bootcamp. It's a shorter course, and it teaches you inner, outer, and energetic boundaries. If you want to work with me one-on-one, that is available. If you want to do group coaching, inner work, that is available. If you want to join my membership and do weekly sessions with a group of people, that is Truth Room. So guys, please check out all the links below. I love you so much. Go say hi to me on Instagram. Please share this with anyone you think it could help, and comment below if you've had any experiences with trauma bonds. I love you guys. I'll see you soon.